It,
Rules in action. Rules that keep things going smoothly and fairly. Rules that help us get where we're going. Help us work together, play together, and live together. Of course, in small groups, we sometimes get along without rules.
But there aren't any loud noises, just the sounds of working. We call these work sounds. Listen.
When many of us play together, rules make the game. Rules help us play fair with each other, so all can enjoy the game. Rules that apply equally to all. It's up to each one of us to know the rules and follow them.
Why do you suppose this room is so quiet? Perhaps we can learn from the teacher.
At New York's Madison Square Garden, a city college quintet faces five fast and fancy wet boots from the University of Oregon. It's the opening contest of an intersectional doubleheader, and New York draws 2 points worth of first blood.
And you know, we have found that knowing when to be quiet is a part of growing up.
16,000 fans watch the boys from the Pacific Coast as they try to stem the onslaught of city college fever. But it's all over when Silverstein shoots off the hardwood, decades the ball, and the ball game for CCNY 38-36.
Because a quiet room helps all of us learn.
How do you do it?
Well, each of us knows how to work quietly. That's very important.
But the evening sport is a long way from the locker room. In the second game, a team of Northwestern Wildcats is matched against St. John's University of Brooklyn. The lads from Illinois are off to a springboard start when Bob Coble eases the melon into the basket to take the lead.
Do you think you could walk this quietly? Listen to this work sound.
But tribal warfare comes to the gymnasium as the St. John's Indians retaliate with 2 points. From now on, the game is touch and go, with 10 men helping to get it there. A beautiful display of teamwork, and Northwestern gets in the number column with sharp shooting Bob Coble doing the honors.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Learn the Game Where You Learn If You Got an F for Effort. And today we're going to be talking about if Bill Russell could play offense, because a lot of people think he can't. Anyway, before we get into that, let's welcome the guys on the panel. Nick, long time no see. How are you today, sir?
Doing good. Glad to be here as always.
And then, of course, we have Politicus Rex. How are you, sir?
all right. Now we have a show.
Yeah, what we had before was lower quality, but since Nick has returned, this is a show now.
Now there's a professionalism to it.
Yeah,
That's a lot of pressure.
Nick, could Bill Russell play offense?
Definitely for sure. I mean, I'll probably be the how would I word this? I'll be the doubter in this one probably, but could he be effective? I mean, absolutely, right? I think just tenacity, energy. He definitely had touch, which I think people would say he didn't. You know, remember, it's not as if he was dunking every time. He definitely had some touch around the rim, so he could definitely be effective. Would he drop 25, 30 points a game? Probably not, but that's not really his role, right? But could he get you 20 on any night? I would say that's probably reasonable. I could put him around that, which to me, being a 20 point per game scorer is like a compliment. If you can go out and get 20 points a game, to me, that's saying you're an effective scorer at the highest level. So for me, that would be a compliment from my point of view.
Rex, could Could Bill Russell play offense, and was he a great offensive player?
Yes, he was. Everyone wants to just look at his career scoring average of 15 a game and say, well, he couldn't score. How many guys you know can score 15 a game in the NBA?
Yeah, exactly.
How many guys are doing that? 2 or 3 on each team. So you're talking about even today in the expanded league of 30 teams, there's what? Maybe 100 guys at the most, probably more like 50 in the that are capable that do score 15 a game for their career. Remember, his high was 19. You know, on playoff runs, championship playoff runs, when they won the title, he led the team in scoring during the playoff run. Okay. Could Jason Kidd play offense?
No, according to this logic, or some people's logic.
Because Jason Kidd is the third highest assist guy in as far as point guards go. Right? For total anyway. Bill Russell has the third highest assist average of any center ever. Higher than Akeem, higher than Shaq, higher than Ewing, Robinson, higher than all of them. Bill Walton, who's known as the greatest passing center before Jokic, he didn't average as many assists as Russell did. Assists are part of offense too. And only Jokic and Wilt had a higher assist per game average than Russell. Just because you don't score a lot of points doesn't mean you can't play offense. All right. And even if you want to talk about scoring, Bill Russell's college team won back-to-back national championships and had a 56-game winning streak. Who was the leading scorer on that team? It was Bill Russell.
Sam Jones.
Yeah, no. Sam Jones didn't even play at the same college.
Oh, I'm sorry, KC Jones.
Then when you go to the Olympics, where he was the main guy on the Olympic team in 56, who led the Olympic team in scoring? Bill Russell did. He led every team in scoring he ever played on until he got to the Celtics, which at the time was the number 1 scoring team in the NBA and had offensive players like Bob Cousy in his prime, who won the MVP that year, and Bill Sharman, who were both 20-point-a-game scorers in the backcourt. That's the team he went to. So, no, he's not going to be scoring. That's not his job. That was never his job with that team. It was never going to be his job with that team, because when you say, well, he scored 15 a game and Jordan scored 30. Well, Jordan didn't grab 20 rebounds a game either. Jordan didn't have to body up against Wilt and Nate and Willis Reed and those guys either.
I was also going to say, Bill Russell's style also such a good contrast to today. Rudy Gobert, his highest I think he ever got was like 16. His career is like 13 or something like that. So
it's lower than that. I was looking at all that last night. When you talk about the top defensive players of all time, of which everyone agrees Russell is obviously, if he isn't at the top of the list, he's in the top 3, 4, 5. Okay. Rudy Gobert career average is like 12 a game. Nate Thurman's career average is like 10 a game. Dikembe Mutombo's career average is like 10 a game. Dennis Rodman's career average is like 7 a game. So he's doing double what those guys are doing, and he's grabbing more rebounds, and he's winning titles and MVPs, which those guys didn't do.
Yeah. But to think that Bill Russell, who I think is obviously obviously a better offensive player than Rudy Gobert, right? If he's a good metric or a good comparison for today's NBA. I mean, obviously it's probably easy to say, on the safe end that Russell would average 16, 17, 18, something like that on the low end every night, right? So that's why I brought him up, to think that Russell doesn't have more of a bag than Rudy Gobert. Obviously you wouldn't know much, but to think that Gobert, his high is 16, right? And like you said, he averaged 12 for his career. Russell's definitely averaging more than that, easily 5-6 points more than that, in my opinion.
I wanted to talk about one aspect of his offense that hasn't been talked about. It's the the break starter pass, getting the rebound and then passing it up to Bob Cousy, which if you watch the documentary, or the Bill Russell documentary, he said that Bob Cousy told him just to throw it at this one spot on the court every time, and that he would be there. Just throw it up there. And that's a part that doesn't, I think, gets ignored on the offensive side of the ball, even though it's if you want to call it a reaction from getting a rebound. Being able to get that ball and effectively support the fast break, which was the catalyst of their offense for a large part of those championships, is something that I think is wildly underrated even in today's NBA, is the capability to start that fast break off of the rebound, pass it to the right guy, enable the rest of the play to happen, and get the bucket. And that's let alone not just the passing, but again what he was likely doing off the ball on offense, setting screens, enabling stuff if they got into the half court. So it's something that I think is a lot of these things that are getting brought up, I think, are wildly underappreciated as when people talk about playing offense.
Well, that directly speaks to one thing I was going to bring up, which was the rebounding. If you're grabbing 20 rebounds a game, that means that's 20 offensive possessions that you're at the back of the line. You're getting the rebound and throwing the outlet pass. So the score is coming by the guys running up the court. So you're out of that's 20 times you don't have a scoring opportunity. Unless you're taking it coast to coast type of thing, which he could do and did do. But another thing that cracks me up is they say guys, from the old days couldn't play today. I think that Bill Russell would be even more dominant today, because you tell me, you guys watch basketball. I don't. You guys tell me, how many players do you have video of hurdling defenders and scoring?
1,000 videos.
I mean, all that needs to be said is he was like a high jump national champion, right? I mean, he was like
second. He was ranked second.
So
was his highest, and he qualified for the 56 Olympics. But back in that day, the Olympic Committee only allowed each athlete to play one sport, that way allowing the most number of athletes to have an opportunity.
Interesting.
And obviously, he was the main guy on the basketball team, so he didn't go for the high jump. But
yeah, I mean,
we have
but
video
obviously,
of Russell grabbing a rebound, going coast to coast, jumping up and hurdling a defender, and finger rolling the ball in. Okay, other than Vince Carter, what modern day athlete do we have a video of doing that? That's the kind of athleticism Russell brought to the court. He just didn't do it in another sport. Wilt could jump too. We had a show yesterday about Wilt's vertical leap. There's no video of Wilt hurdling guys, but Russell actually did in college in 1955 in the NCAA tournament. We have video of it, or film of it. Other than Vince Carter, who else in the modern era has done that? But Russell could, and you're going to say he couldn't play today, not athletic enough. Those are morons. He's more
Yeah.
athletic than practically anyone today because he stayed lean. It was an endurance sport back then.
Yeah, I think the motor is a underappreciated thing these days. I mean, imagine Rudy Gobert. I mean, what's the big knock on him? Like he doesn't seem like he wants it sometimes. You know, imagine if Rudy Gobert was running up and down the court like an absolute maniac for 40 minutes a game, 40 plus minutes, right? So that's what I mean. Like Wilt ran track at a college level too. Like that's another reason why I don't buy the whole athlete. The whole athlete has just evolved all of a sudden the last like 30, 40, 50 years or something. Like these guys were like the top 0.01% of the world, right? Like, I mean, of what people were capable of and what they could do. And the fact that they were 6'9", 7'2", or whatever, right? These just absolutely insane builds, like things that you would kind of laugh about if you made a build on NBA 2K, right? I just think people get really lost in the sauce of like, I'm in the now, I'm in the future, I'm in this era that is above and beyond anything before it, right? Instead of just understanding, like, if you just knew how hard some of these things are, what they do, right? I mean, go ask any NBA player today to go run the 100-meter or go do a high jump, and I want to see what they get compared to these guys that you think couldn't play in today's NBA, right? So yeah, these guys were just all around, freaks, and I mean that in the absolute most complimentary way.
Yeah, there were so many guys in the NBA. I mean, we mentioned Casey Jones. Casey Jones had an NFL tryout. So did Havlicek. DeBusschere and Sharman both played pro baseball.
Yeah.
If you want to go back 40 years, Danny Ainge, before he ever went to the Celtics, was the second baseman for the Toronto Blue Jays.
Was it Danny Ainge that was like the
Yes.
all-state in
Yes.
3 sports?
No.
Yeah,
He's
which is
the
just insane.
He's the only 3-sport high school All-American in history. He was a first-team high school All-American in football, baseball, and basketball. And
But he wasn't
forget,
athletic.
And he
wasn't athletic though, Rex.
He was the college player of the year in basketball.
Was he really? I didn't know that.
Yes.
I didn't know that.
One thing I wanted to add about Bill Russell with his offense, how people look at his offense, is he had one of the biggest guys that he was compared to scored 100 points in a game.
Yeah.
50 points in the season. His direct comparison was always against Wilt Chamberlain, who scored a lot more in a very more in your face, I guess, in respect to the points side of the aspect.
Yeah.
I think that has a lot to do with how people look at Bill Russell's offense too, because the guy that he's most compared to scored a lot more than he did.
Yeah, it's not like, Shaq and Akeem being compared to each other. Russell's always compared to the record book.
Yeah.
When you look at some of the other guys, and here's some that I was looking at when I was just browsing through stuff. The pace has gone back up again, right?
Yeah, it has. Yeah.
So the pace, it's not as high as the 60s, but it's edging close, correct?
Yeah.
We're the 20 rebound a game players. Everyone said, well, Russell and Wilt's stats are inflated because of pace. Okay, well, now the pace has gone back up. Where's the 20 rebound a game guys?
I think a lot of
I always tell people, rebounds it's got nothing to do with pace. Rebounds are something you have to go get.
Yeah, that's what
I think a lot has to do with, I'm not saying all, but I think part of it has to do with the angles of the shot and the rebounds, with the deeper rebounds, with the 3-point shot.
But they're also hitting a flex rim.
That's yep. I don't deny that that's not part of it. I think that's just a factor, a variable of it.
Oh yeah, but I mean, no one's even close.
Yes,
Yeah, you
that's
still
what I'm
figure
saying.
someone have to be
The
close.
pace in the 90s and then the 2000s, and now it's gone back up, yet the top rebounders every year are still averaging about the same thing every year, are they not?
Yeah, I think there's somebody out there this season doing about 15. I forget who. I thought I read that somewhere.
When
Well,
was the
Jokic is
last
leading the
20
league in
rebound?
rebounding, isn't he?
Yeah, actually, I think Jokic is leading the league in rebounding. I think he's got in between 14 and 15.
So
Or he
basically the
did.
same thing that like Moses and Rodman averaged
Yeah, something like that. Are
during
you
the
checking
slow
it out,
days.
Nick?
Yeah. I'm just curious. We'll see what Google says, but that doesn't mean it's right. They say it's Wilt Chamberlain in 68, 69.
No, we're talking about this season. Who has the?
Oh no, I was asking when was the last person to average 20 rebounds per game.
Yeah,
Oh,
all
okay.
right. Well, it was Wilt, but Wilt's final year he averaged like 19.8.
Yeah, I
So
just would have
that's
figured
20.
someone like a Moses. I figured someone along the way would have had another
No,
20
Moses'
rebound per.
highest, I think, is right about the same as Rodman's highest. I think both of them had like 17 rebound a game seasons with a 30 rebound high.
Crazy. Who leads today? Let me look it up.
On a sidebar, after Nick answers this, Aircraft Carrier asked, "Did Bill Russell have a bag?"
Yeah.
People say bag, so I don't know if I would say bag, but what I would say is touch. Like I think Bill Russell's touch and the way those guys had to operate around the rim was just a little different than today, right? That's the way I would put it. I would say these guys had incredible finesse around the basket, right? That's how I would present the art, because people think of bag, they think of like turn around, they think of kind of like all these moves. And so I don't know if you watch film if you would say he had moves, right? But again, he's looking for any kind of daylight, an edge, an angle. It just, again, being ferocious, putbacks. I don't know if I call it a bag, but I would call it finesse and touch for sure. I think big guys, do not get a lot of credit for the finer things, the footwork and the soft hands, right? That they should. Like someone like Shaq, did he have the best footwork? No, but for his size, his footwork was incredible, right? So that's how I would present it. Bill Russell had incredible footwork around the rim. Essentially, he could not be outmaneuvered. That was his domain. Even against Wilt Chamberlain, he did very well for anyone who ever played Chamberlain, right? That's kind of how I would present it per se.
Well, Jerry West back in I guess it had to be like 30 years ago now. We used to have a guy named Tracy Augman who was a great college player and played in the NBA for, I think, about 10 years. And Tracy Augman had the nickname Plastic Man. And Jerry West one time made the comment about when he was talking about Bill Russell. So the difference between Wilt and Russell was Wilt would be in the middle and he'd block everything in front of him. Whereas Russell was the real Plastic Man. That if you ever just look at pictures of Bill Russell blocking shots, he rarely blocked the shot directly in front of him because no one would shoot those shots. He was always contorted, twisted. People forget he was left-handed. If you look at him block shots, he blocks a whole lot of shots right-handed. He blocks shots reaching behind him, jumping sideways, because he would sucker you into taking a shot that you thought he wasn't in position to block, but he was planning on blocking it that way the whole time. And then other times you'd shoot right in his face and he wouldn't block it on purpose to get you confused. And that's a big difference. That same athleticism doesn't disappear on offense. That's where the guy that wiggles in between two bigger players to grab a rebound and then puts it back up.
Right.
That's doing the hook shot, reaching around the guy that's covering you. That's the Kevin McHale moves, you know.
Yeah, so Jokic is leading the league in rebounds by half a rebound over second place too, which is a lot.
How many does he have? Like 14, 15?
12.4 is what I see right here.
Okay, well, pace has gone up. How come guys are still averaging the same rebounds as they did in the slowest pace, if pace makes such a difference?
Yeah.
Because it doesn't. Because if you go back and you look at the rebounds from the 50s and 60s, you have 4 guys that were grabbing 20 rebounds a game. The entire rest of the league wasn't.
That is pretty interesting.
Do you think Russell would guard the centers of today well? Could he lock down Jokic? I think he could. Microwave asks and states without a question mark.
Yeah, because he was mobile. The guy used to cover Jerry West.
Exactly.
Jerry West talks about, the one series that he normally played very well in the playoffs. If you know basketball history, you know that before Jordan, Jerry West was the greatest playoff performer. He averaged 44 points a game, one playoff series. I mean, he was the man in the playoffs, which is funny because Elgin Baylor always had horrible games in the playoffs. Game 7 of the 68 finals, I think it was. Or it might have been earlier. It might have been like 62. I think Elgin Baylor went like 13 for 40 in Game 7, Ouch. And that's because they put Russell on him in Game 7. Russell covered him. And Jerry West talked about, he had to be more selective playing against the Celtics because if he got too hot, they would take, the Jones brothers off of him and Havlicek, and Russell would go, I'll cover him. And he said, I was done for the night, Yeah,
I was going to say he might actually do even better in today's league, in terms of a matchup kind of guy, because he could guard the perimeter, right? I think he would do good against like a Dirk or a KG or even a Jokic, because Jokic a lot of times starts on the outside and he kind of works his way in.
I think the guys historically that Russell would have struggled with were guys like Yao Ming, Shaq, and even Kareem.
Yeah, your more big traditional guys, yeah.
Yeah, well, the first two because of just pure size.
Yeah.
There gets to be a point where your athleticism is fantastic, but when you start talking about guys that are that big, and I know Wilt was that big, and remember, he did play Wilt well, but Wilt did grab 55 rebounds against Russell.
Yeah.
When Russell agitated him.
Wilt still ate, no doubt.
Smack.
What about when Dennis Rodman would cover Shaq? Apparently
Dennis Rodman did not do a good job on Shaq. He had one great half of one great game. If you actually go to StatMuse and look at the numbers, Shaq used to step on Rodman.
Okay.
He used to dominate Rodman. Because I looked at that when we were talking about something of that on a different channel that shall remain nameless. I actually looked that up. And he had one half where he held Shaq scoreless. And then he got Shaq to get technicals. And I think actually got thrown out of one game. But if you actually look at their head-to-head battles, him covering Shaq dominated him one-on-one.
Okay. Yeah. I'll check it out because Shaq makes it seem like Dennis Rodman. Well, I think he just doesn't like Dennis Rodman at least. And he probably just was like in the interview that I saw with him, he probably was talking more so about his personality than his play style. Because he's annoying, he's a punk, that kind of stuff.
No, that's how he played you. That's how he played Malone in the 97 and 98 finals. He gets you out of your game. He doesn't straight up defend you with fantastic defensive, fundamentals. He gets you off your game. That's a different type of defense.
And what's so annoying about guys like that is yes, they are a vital part to the team, no doubt, no doubt. But I think the fact that they know they're not offensively relied upon gives them like that sort of extra freedom to where, if I'm Rodman and I'm, sort of like when Robert Horry decked Steve Nash, right? Robert Horry did a quick calculation. He said, we're in deep waters here. If I can make a trade where I get Steve Nash to come at me and we both get tossed out, that's a fair trade, right? So every time I think of that Malone and him where they're fumbling over each other over and over,
Yeah,
I just know
because Chicago
Rodman's
can
thinking,
win without Rodman, but
exactly.
there's no
He's
way
thinking,
Utah is even competitive without Malone.
When you say he likes to get people off his game, there's also this thing of like, well, if we both get tossed out, that's a big loss for you. Meanwhile, we're gonna be all right.
That goes back to Ricky Mahorn, because that's when Philadelphia was at its height and they'd play the Bullets. The Bullets at some point in the game would put Rick Mahorn on Dr. J. And if you look it up, Dr. J's worst games were playing against Rick Mahorn, because Rick Mahorn would just hit him. Cheap shot. One time, I was at the game. Dr. J goes in for a dunk. He jumps. Ricky Mahorn grabbed his foot and didn't let go. He just grabbed his foot while he was in the air, and Doc goes whoop to the ground. After he hits the ground, Ricky Mahorn was still holding his foot. All right? It's those mental games. And Rodman obviously learned that from Mahorn and what's his name? Lambeer.
No. Aircraft Carrier asks, is Evan Mobley a low-budget, updated version of Bill Russell? Is he a good comparison?
No.
What I understand of Evan Mobley, I would say no. But I'm not super familiar with him.
No. Is DeMar DeRozan a upgraded, low-budget Michael Jordan? No.
No.
Just no.
LeBron fans try to say it.
I know. And it's look, these guys are all ridiculously, successful, but they're also unique. Okay?
Yeah.
Wilt finally had a coach hammer it into his head halfway through his career that all of your records are great for you, but they don't help the team get better. Look at how Russell beats you all the time, playing this way. And when Wilt changed and started playing like Russell, he went to the finals almost every year.
Yeah.
Okay. The only 2 years he didn't go to the finals after changing how he played was when he got beat by young Kareem in 71. And then obviously in the East, with
68.
his first year of changing to that style. They won, but then the second year in 68, they lost in the Eastern Conference Finals to Russell. So losing to the man he was trying to emulate, and then losing to the guy that would eventually break his scoring record, are the only times he got beat after changing to Russell's style, which is what totally blows my mind, that in 70 years, in a human being's lifetime, no one else has tried to copy it. People say, why doesn't anyone shoot the sky hook anymore? My question is, why doesn't anyone play like Russell anymore? Because that style of play brought about, if you count after Wilt changed to play that way, and then that's 13 championships from 57 to 72 with that style of play. No one has tried playing that way since.
And real quick on the Mobley thing, I will say this about Mobley, though, is that Mobley is a very highly sought after commodity, and that is he is length, but he is more specifically his defensive length. He's very agile for his size. I will say that about Mobley, though. that guy's on your team, right? Having a commodity like a 6'11" guy who can move around on defense and cover a lot of space is always something that's welcome on any team, though. I do like watching him when he's kind of covering ground. He is fun to watch.
Now, I think Ewing could have been of that same ilk, but he got injured right off the bat as a rookie in New York. And then because of King's injury the season before, and them never, ever in 20 years getting a, concrete number 2, Ewing had to carry the load offensively and defensively. And that was never the plan. That was never anyone's plan for Patrick Ewing, was to carry a team offensively. He even came out of Boston as a high schooler. The reason he went to Georgetown was because John Thompson was Bill Russell's backup for 2 championships. And he was being groomed, and that's how Georgetown got to 3 championship games in his 4 years, was him playing like Russell. Then he goes to the Knicks. King is injured. He's not able to come back immediately. It's too severe of an injury. Their ridiculous front office never got a quality number 2, a consistent number 2. I mean, during their biggest success, their second best player was John Starks, whose career scoring average was 2 points below Russell's.
And he used to do groceries.
Hey, ain't nothing wrong with that.
Huh.
So
Well, that's
Kurt
how they
Warner.
found him, right? Playing.
So did Kurt Warner.
It was bagging groceries, and they're like, "Hey, we think you could play basketball. Come try out." That's
Well, he went to 4 colleges in 4 years.
yeah.
But my point is, no top center tries to emulate that. But yet it's been proven that that is what wins. When you use your effort to assist your teammates' defense, you sacrifice your offense to a degree. Now remember, Russell still averaged 19 a game in his prime. 19 a game doesn't suck, guys. 19 a game on a championship team is about as respectable as you can get.
19 a game in any era.
Alpha male scorers do better than that. But
19 a game in any era is well above average.
Yes. And his high was 19 a game. His high game was 39. How do you tell a guy that has scored 39 points in an NBA game, you got no offense, bro? You got but it just boggles my mind that no one understands that if you give up 5 or 6 shots a game, right? You just give up less than 2 shots a quarter. You give up 1 shot a quarter and you maximize your effort on help defense to make all of your teammates' defensive effort easier. So all of them have more energy for offense. You're improving the offense of 4 players while hindering just 1. It's a team sport, and if you have 4 aggressive scorers, that's how many, that's a recipe for winning.
Nick, I got a question for you. What do you think about Rex's transition to be a stat head, as aircraft carrier mentioned? I know you're the resident stat head around here. Do you think that Rex is turning into a new chapter in life?
No. I specifically went to these websites because Nick was going to be on the show today. That's why I went in. You know me. I tell you all the time. I don't research this stuff. I just go off the cuff with the stuff that I know. But with Nick coming on the show, I spent about 2 hours brushing up on it and was going to all the different websites, looking at stats and comparisons because I knew Nick was going to be on.
I honestly did know this one was just about Bill Russell. I did no research at all, just because I figured we were just going to be talking for like debates. Yes, I come in locked and loaded.
But no, Russell is one of those that the image, just like Wilt's the mythical stories surrounding Wilt has taken over the reality of Wilt. And the image of Russell has taken over the reality of Russell, which is, he was the number 2 scorer on a championship team and league MVP. But yet you have fanboys sit there and say he had no offense. He actually hurdled a player in a game and scored. Only one modern player has ever done that I know of. And no one's popped up, told me otherwise.
I've been trying to think of any other highlight reels of people absolutely getting jumped over. I can't think of any.
I've seen high school and college, or I've seen high school.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, there's probably some tapes out there.
Yeah, but you got Vince, and he didn't do it in the NBA either. I mean, Russell did it in college in the NCAA tournament. Vince Carter did it in the Olympics. He didn't do it in the NBA either.
The guy who was 7 feet,
no one's done it in the NBA. The closest, I guess, is Tom Chambers, the Mark Jackson.
Yeah.
That's the closest.
That's another close one. Yeah.
Yeah. But
hilarious dunk.
But that's the thing. Russell had that kind of athleticism that he could jump from just in first he grabs the rebound. Then he takes it up court himself. Then jumps from 18 inches inside the free throw line, hurdles a player, and then lays it up off the backboard. He didn't even have a stretched arm. He was so close to the basket that he had to have his arm at his elbow at a 90-degree angle, or else he was going to hit the ball. Was going to hit his hand was going to hit the backboard. But then guys want to say, well, he had no offense. He couldn't score today, dude. He could jump over anybody in the league today. Anybody.
Yeah.
What do y'all think about the NBA retiring number 6? Do you think that do you think that was the right thing to do, Nick? What do you think about the retirement of number 6?
I can't really think of a more worthy person, to be honest with you. I mean, even more worthy than Michael, in my opinion. But just like it's sort of crazy to think too. It's just the whole era too that he was in. Like it really is kind of like the launching pad or the launch pad, the takeoff point, wherever you want to see it for the NBA, in my opinion. I mean, really from his time, I understand Mike invented it 100%. Like I'm not trying to say that, but I think when you ask most people like the beginning of the NBA, I think most people will go as far back as Bill Russell. And I think that's kind of where the lore begins, if that makes sense, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Mikan is like the grandfather, yes, but like the lore of basketball starts with Bill Russell. That's probably the best way to put it.
Yeah, your grandfather is my brother.
Every Kareem messed it up by not retiring in 84.
Yeah.
Because what you had was the NBA came into being. Yes, they call the first seasons of the BAA, they call that the NBA origin, but the actual NBA started in 50-51. Mikan was there. Mikan retires. And then Russell comes in the next year. Russell carries it through. He retires. Kareem comes in the next year. Kareem goes, if he hadn't hung around as a second and third option with the Lakers and would have just retired when he sort of had to give over the reins as the main guy, and that was the same year that Jordan came in. Then Jordan goes, and when Jordan finally retired, his final retirement, then LeBron came in the next year. So really, when you look at those eras, if you say the Mikan era, the Russell era, the Kareem era, the Jordan era, the LeBron era, just to make it simple, right? Just to oversimplify eras.
Yeah.
There was more growth during Russell's era than any other era. What the game looked like in the fall of 1956, and I know he didn't join till midseason because the Winter Olympics were in the Southern Hemisphere, but from what the game was in the fall of 56 to what the game was in the spring of 69 is just a fantastical leap that he ruled over it. 5 MVPs and 11 championships. He owned that era.
Yeah, no doubt.
Do you think his number should be retired, Rex?
No.
Or, I mean,
it was a knee-jerk reaction. The two things. Number one, that's about this when they retired his number. It was about the same time when everyone was screaming that they should replace Jerry West as the logo with Michael Jordan. And
if your stance is that like we shouldn't retire numbers in general, I actually tend to agree with that.
Yeah, I don't think you should.
Yeah, but I was just going to say
because what it does. Okay, number 6. And the main reason why they retired number 6 was because LeBron changed his number to number 6. And then you had the old heads sitting there standing there going, well, wait a minute. Bill Russell was number 6. Because LeBron changed from 20 and was saying that, well, he doesn't think anyone should wear 23. So he changed his number to 6. It's like, well, wait a minute, dude. That's the dude that has 5 MVPs and 11 championships. Not to mention Dr. J also wore number 6.
Yeah.
So they said, oh, you know what? We're just going to retire number 6 because he's the greatest winner ever. So we're just retiring it across the board. And I don't think any number should be retired.
I tend to agree
love
with that.
The fact that the Cowboys and number 88, whoever gets to wear 88 for the Cowboys has an image and a reputation and a status to uphold.
That's true.
And I think it should be the same thing with these teams. I thought it would have been, and I thought it might happen actually, when Kevin Garnett went to Boston. I actually said to a friend of mine, I will become a Boston fan if he comes out for the first game wearing number 6. If Russell gives him permission to wear number 6 and the team gives him permission to wear number 6, if Kevin Garnett comes out in number 6 for Boston, I am 100% behind this team. I've not been a fan in 20 years. I will be behind this team. I thought that would have been absolutely fantastic if that would have been allowed to happen.
Would have been epic for sure.
Wouldn't it? Wouldn't that have been? That would have been for basket fans of the game, that would have just been like mind blowing if something like that could have happened. Just like, Embiid, if he could just stay healthy. God, Embiid going to Philadelphia. Can you imagine if he would have came out in a number 13 jersey and then dropped that 70-point game in the same number that Wilt wore? That would have been so cool. I think but the NBA, as we know, is all about destroying the past, blurring the past. Whatever's happening today is the best thing that's ever happened. So you have to watch now. That's been, that was Stern's business plan and they've stuck with it. So you're not going to get anything that really, like they say, retiring his number honors the past. And not really. Because, it's number 6. Okay. How many guys actually wear number 6 anyway?
Not a lot.
It's not like they retired number 30. If he wore number 33, and they said, okay, we're retiring number 33 league wide, I don't think they would have done it because every
Yeah.
team has a 33.
Well, like 69, the number 69. I think
Not
that should be
allowed.
retired across
You're-
the
And
league.
put it in Russell's name.
That's because of Dennis Rodman. Dennis Rodman,
Oh.
when he went to the Bulls, tried to get number 69.
Did he really?
Yes.
That's
And
hilarious.
the league
he
office
did.
said, no, you're not doing that. And as a matter of fact, no one's going to do that ever.
And I remember the rule also used to be
Nice.
you couldn't have a number above 5, right? Because
Yeah,
the rest,
because of
the
the
rest have
officials.
to signal
Yeah.
31,
officials.
21. Yeah, like they
That-
can't. How do
that's-
you signal
that's why
63?
Dikembe-
You have to go 6'3" or something.
That's why Dikembe was 55, because at the
Yeah.
time, that was the highest number you were allowed.
Yep.
But
Exactly.
now in the digital era and 10 million eyes on every game, you don't have to worry about calling out the foul. Before the official can even call the number to the sideline, they're showing the replay on the big screen. So everyone knows what number it was.
Yeah.
You know.
Hey guys, I got to go over to this memoriam. I'm sure you guys are welcome. I mean, you're definitely welcome to watch. I'm sure if you have any words, I'm sure I'll let you come up. But for people that don't know that are watching, Goatcast Hoops, also his real name CW, unfortunately passed away yesterday. Still trying to figure out what happened, but
It's really
they're doing a
sad.
memoriam on Lights Out Debates, so I'm gonna go over there and join them.
All
But
right.
but it was a
Okay.
fun time. Yep.
Enjoyed
Nick,
it as
you gotta-
always.
You gotta come back. You gotta come back regularly, Nick.
Yeah.
Um,
Go A&M. That's all I'm going to say. Go Aggies, man. I'm excited.
No
Yeah.
Cooper flag jersey?
No, not yet. I'm excited for the kid. Don't get me wrong. Like, if I was the manager, I would trade away everyone except for a couple of the younger guys, to be honest with you, and start over. But he's been looking a lot better lately. I'm excited, but man, I'm still kind of heartbroken, man. Like, I'm just so uninterested, like in a sort of like down, just give me some time to kind of sulk a little bit. I'll get over it and I'll start paying attention again. I've been keeping tabs. I'm just not into it.
It doesn't help that Luca keeps like sending out tweets and stuff like that, talking about how much he misses the Dallas fans and how much you guys meant to him. I'm sure it doesn't help any with ways.
Yeah, we really feel robbed of maybe watching something. That's how we all feel right now. So we'll see. It just sucks.
all right, guys. I really gotta go, but it was fun.
Bye,
Playing the
guys.
game.